anomalous phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the SA.
Oh my gosh.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Look at the fly!
I'm excited. As you should know, there was a story that came about a year ago, and I'm going to get right down into the shit. And this was back when in Vegas, when the family claimed that at some point they were able to see an alien that fell from the skies within their backyard. And it was all over the news. It was one of the biggest things out there. And at one point in time, the fanatics and people like myself and everyone else was excited. We got something out and it hit the ground. There was officers' account. There was just so much mystery and conspiracy behind this particular sighting that it went actually viral, right? And a lot of people talked about it for weeks. And then over time, the story kind of went down a little bit, and we started wondering what happened to the family and what's going on with them. And because this was a traumatic experience, they called 911, and the guy says, "I don't have to lie." You know, and we even had a debate here on our channel and with some of the people, even my show producer and all this, and hey, maybe this is real, not real. Now, I believe the story. I really did, because there was a lot of factual things that we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But there's an update now, and this is why we're going to be talking about it today. News Nation happened to went back out there and got a different perspective of what's dealing with, or what they're dealing with today versus what had happened in the original story. And you will be really, really out there as you begin to hear some of the new things. And as I do go over it, you may not believe it, and we'll get right into it. So I will bring you up to date. There are a few clips I'll bring. We got a lot of little clips. And then also I have some, not so much of a guest appearances, but I reached out to Reverend Michael Carter, which, you know, formerly he's been on Ancient Aliens. He's been on a lot of the TV shows. He's been here with us. He's the author of Alien Scriptures, and you can find this on Amazon, as well as the book is in, or the description here in the link. So if you want to go to Amazon, in fact, you should go buy it. It is really, and I still got the notes when I bought this thing years ago, as you can see my little yellow tabs, and it really will change your perspective once you get into the book of Genesis, all of these different areas. And he is still in the clergy today, but he definitely now has made the discovery of what's going on. So this book, Alien Scriptures. So I'm going to have him, I called him today and I asked him a few questions, especially what the guy is dealing with today and how can we bring some reference in it today. And he said, you know what? He's going to share some things. So I'll bring in some video clips of him talking today. Him and I was on the phone, and then I filmed it. And so therefore he'll bring in a bunch. So be ready, because he goes really deep into this, and then we can tie it all into the Vegas situation. So I'm going to bring you up to speed if you've been sleeping under a rock. And I'll kind of play a couple of clips that'll bring you up to date from what had happened in the original story. So we'll get right into that. So this is about almost a couple of minutes, but let's get rid of it. Some of you will probably remember it already. You're going to be like, okay, fine. And there'll be some new people. But look at how the story has begun to shift from then and where we are now. And it's truly amazing, but it's really something we do really need to discuss. So let's just jump into part of it right now.
It's the report of an alien sighting at a Las Vegas home that is reverberating around the world.
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
In a city of unusual sights, this one sticks out.
Las Vegas police took the 911 call seriously.
Did you see it?
Yeah, me and him saw it.
Last month's incident was triggered when a mysterious fireball fell from the sky, caught on a cop's body cam. There appears to be little doubt that there was something in the sky that night. The question is, was it extraterrestrial, and will we ever get a definitive answer? I returned to the Las Vegas home to try to find out more. No one responded when I knocked on the door, but I did speak with retired Las Vegas Police Lieutenant Randy Sutton.
The officers treated as this was a factual incident, which they absolutely should do. You could tell that these people were frightened.
He says it's clear police do not think it was a prank or a hoax.
I know that, from my sources, that they didn't detect any deception at all.
So what could it be? University of Nevada, Las Vegas astrophysicist Jason Steffen says it was a meteor, not a spaceship, and it probably landed in the ocean, not in the backyard in Vegas. Witnesses from Utah to California reported seeing it.
How do you respond to this kid saying, we saw a UFO?
I doubt it was aliens. That's probably not what's going on. People see all sorts of things in their yards and can't necessarily come up with an explanation for it.
News Nation host Ashley Banfield has been covering the incident.
I think the biggest part of all of this has been that never once did they seek attention. The video came from the police. This young boy is genuinely fearful of the amount of attention he's getting.
It was like a big creature.
By the way, in Nevada, it is a felony to make a hoax 911 call, and police say they do not believe that that is the case with any of these calls.
All right, so let's kind of break down what is happening or what has happened here in this story and where we're now today. So it's been a year. It's been a long time since this has happened. And you know what? It's almost like it's been yesterday for some of us, right? So if you think about it, the story was he called, he saw something in his backyard. It was an alien. We had videos, we had clips of something there, some shadowy looking thing. Now, you saw a whole different type of viewpoint when you heard the scientific community. When he says, I don't believe, I think it was an asteroid, it wasn't a UFO. What he didn't get into was that's what you're talking about that fell out the sky, but we're talking about what happened in this guy's backyard. So when you talk about or think about the scientific community, they're never going to agree with the UFO phenomena because these things are anomalies. These are not events that when you're trying to get a theory, you have to put a hypothesis together, and a hypothesis requires something to happen over and over and over again. So now they can determine if this is keep happening, A plus B, A plus B, A plus B, then it equals C. The theory is A plus B equals C. They don't get into none of that because this is why our scientific community, because UFOs over here, they're over there. These things are not, it's just no timed event for them to say at 3 p.m. we're going to see a UFO hovering over Dallas, Texas. All right, so that's cool. We get that. Then, as you heard the lady at the end that did the investigation, you know, it's against the law. It is a criminal crime to do a false 911 call. And everybody ate this boy up at the time saying, okay, he called this and that, this didn't happen. And even when you heard him panic, he says, you know, I'm not making this up. He says, no, you may not believe me. And all of these things was there. So we're talking about trauma. We're talking about emotions. We're talking about other police officers' footage. We're talking about the FBI and all these people coming in saying the body cams were turned off when they went into the property. We've had police officers that came to our show and hit me in the text and hit me in the email saying they cannot turn off the body cams. And the fact that they said it was private property, that doesn't work because the minute you call them out, they are allowed to come on your property. So when we go into all of these facts and stuff, now we want to know, how was he dealing with this? That brings us into our conversations today, because lately and recently, he has reported a whole different ball game now that they had did a follow-up on his story. And one of the things he said is this right here. He said we had, no, not so much of a couple of priests. Let me go back for a minute. The headline was that this little boy saw something, and he's now saying that it is demons now. Okay, we went from extraterrestrials, aliens, big 10-feet creatures in my backyard. They look scared. Here's where they land. And today he's saying it was now demons. Now, how do we get from there? The question is, what got him to go from this to that? And what's going to happen is, and what we're going to talk about with Reverend Michael Carter here, that I'll bring in some of the clips we talked about today. This is where we are, and this is why I want to bring this out, is the religious aspect of this. This is why Project Black exists, the Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. Of course, it's in the community for African American and indigenous people, but this thing can reign over all over, right? Because once we put the religious viewpoint, our eyes on this particular scenario, it changes. See, I've said it before when I was on Clubhouse. I interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people. Then I began to be able to actually pinpoint, just by what they're saying, what their religious background was. It is just that distinctive when it comes down to how you can say, okay, here's what they're saying about it. They're calling it angels. They're calling it demons. Oh, this is something else. Maybe it's paranormal. Maybe it's a ghost. Maybe he just saw an apparition. Who knows? But all of these things signify the fact is, there is a psychological trauma that exists when this happens. And some of you probably had experiences. You'll probably have gone through some of this stuff today. And we need to talk about it in more depth, because for a hell of a shift from what he went to and now, and not just to say he said it was demons, he is now reporting these activities that are happening in his house. This is one of the things that where the challenges go. So, for example, he is reporting that a cross. He said the 17-year-old said that he saw an upside down cross with Jesus statue on it, and it ripped the Jesus off of it and threw it across the room. Now, I talked to Reverend Michael Carter about this, and I asked him, how can we get from this? What got us from over here to over there? What is really happening when it comes down to that? And we'll get right into that right about now. But first of all, This show is sponsored by LIVEPURE. Okay, this is the coffee. We've been talking about this coffee. People been really getting a lot of different great testimonials from it. Again, it's the coffee that you can go to livepure.com/Roderick. You can support the show by doing that. You'll support Project Black by going, but then it's something that you are doing already. And you can go into the health products that they have. You can go in those things. In fact, I weighed in today, officially 16 pounds lighter since I've been using some of the other Project Magic and all of that. So it's slimming down, and I have a huge goal to get to before the Conscious Award, but it will be so visible and people are going to know. But at the end of the day, LIVEPURE is one of our sponsors, and we've already got other people using the coffee as well. And so therefore, I will be not even in the right place not to show you our latest testimonial from Damon.
And it smells really good. I'm kind of a coffee snob, and I love how it smells. This coffee's crazy. I don't know what's in here. I think this is illegal. I had 1 cup. And then a few hours later, I did a spin class. So spin class, I do like 20 miles on the bike. I think I burned like 800 plus, maybe 1,000 calories. It also gave me some mental clarity, and I actually passed my exam that day. Looking to try something new, looking to try something healthy, because I believe there's cordyceps or something like this in it. Don't ask me what cordyceps are, but I believe it's related to the mushroom family. Like medicine, this stuff is really good. I just have this over the regular coffee, and it smells really good. I'm kind of a coffee snob, and I love how it smells. Trust me, just get it. It'll change your whole routine. I urge everybody just to get a box. Just try a box. It's something you can actually keep.
All right, so we'll go with that. And I want to thank Damon for his testimony. Everybody's having these crazy, amazing results. There's a link in the description. All right, so where we're going to go with this is this. Let's think about the religious aspect of what we're doing. Now, if we go into the headlines of what's happening with this little kid is now saying that there are some demonic things and incidents that are happening at their house. He said that he claims that he saw none, and then we can go back to this, but he said he saw non-human beings in his backyard nearly a year ago. If y'all remember, now he claims there have been more strange occurrences in the house. Now, I set this up the other night, and I'll say it again. You know, we've already heard of Skinwalker Ranch and how all of that played out, where the family starts saying they've seen all these anomalies, all these paranormal events. Then the Bigelow came in and they all bought this property. It became one of the most fascinating things in the ufology community. Books was written, thousands and hundreds of books. People bought it, documentaries, all this stuff. And the original family said, hey, ain't nothing happened while we were there. Skinwalker Ranch is now a pivotal, pillar within the ufology community. Now, I'm sensing in my, viewpoint, we got another Skinwalker about to come. We got somebody, maybe they're saying, if we could do this, if we can say all of these other things are happening, the value of the property goes up. Now, I talked to our lead researcher, Nicole, and she was like, well, Roderick, when she did the research, they're renting. So what benefit would they have there? Well, I'm going to assume the owner would probably say, if y'all can help me sell this property, I got a piece of the pie for you. I don't know. But where would they change this story? Now, that was just my interpretation. Well, when you start looking into the details, this dude is freaked out. I'll show you some more video clips before we get some things what Michael Carter says about it, and we're going to look at it from a religious perspective, because that's the only place we need to go with this. Now, we're talking about a year ago. We're talking about it was 10-foot aliens. Now we're talking about a damn cross floating upside down with the face of Jesus being ripped off, thrown across the room by whatever entity it is, and saying the hell with that. Now, we talked about it in sleep paralysis the other day. We talked about how the old saying, oh, Jesus, 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 supposedly render you to a point to get control of the back of your body. Most people have claimed that it has actually worked, and it has. I've done it before when I had sleep paralysis. But also I've heard other things that the aliens or the entities laugh at it because they're like, it don't work. But I'm just going to respect the fact that you're really scared right now, and I'm going to bag the F off. And so maybe that's part of the process. Now, I don't have any evidence on that side of the fence, but there are a lot of people who will claim that if you do say, some particular verbiage for Jesus, that this thing will say it will just go away. Now, the other part of this is there was incident involving a Bible. Okay, listen to this one, because we didn't report this the other day. The Bible sat on the table as though it's sitting here where we have this book. The pages start steadily turning with no help and no breeze, flipping the pages, but it wasn't from air. It was steadily like somebody was holding it, in this particular case, doing something like this. And could you imagine if there was an entity having a Bible in front of you saying, man, I'm just ready to F with you today. In fact, I can curse. I'm going to fuck with you today. You get what I'm saying? And so at this point, where does this come from? All right, I think there's some psychological things going on here. That's one of the things. That's why I reached out to Reverend Carter for us to talk about it. Now, I will play for you 2 different interviews. One is about 4 minutes. I may cut it short a little bit. The other one, this is when News Nation went back out there to do a follow-up a whole year later, and this is how we got to where we are today. And I think, again, it's something worth noting. So let's get into it right now. I'll play one of the clips, and we can do that right now. Where's my little clips here? All right. So this one here, let's just go into it a little bit. Here we go.
Not only did what happened in Vegas not stay in Vegas, it circled the known universe. The frenzy grew when reports surfaced that unknown authorities had afterwards placed cameras around this family's home. The family was driven into hiding, off the grid, out of sight, underground. But 10 months later, the mystery lives on, and looky-loos and alien hunters are still on the prowl. The family posted no trespassing signs, but break-ins have been reported frequently here, as recently as last week at this home. Tonight, a News Nation exclusive, the teenager who made that 911 call is finally speaking publicly at length and laying out exactly what he saw that night and what has happened since. Our national correspondent Alex Capriello joins me with that live from Las Vegas tonight. So, Alex, it's really compelling, with the advent of a year passing almost, that they've had a chance to digest what it is they've been through. They have kept quiet. They are not looking for attention. And yet now you're getting information, especially from this 15-year-old or the 17-year-old, that's pretty alarming.
Yeah, and I've found out from speaking to Angel Kenmore that life just really has not been all that easy for the past year since they saw that 10-foot-tall creature in their backyard right here behind me. For him, he says that he's plain and simple traumatized by it all. He says he can't sleep at night. He's become slightly paranoid. He cries at night, trying to make sense, heads or tails, of what exactly he saw that night, playing it back over and over in his head. You can imagine the torment that's going through in his head. But to this day, none of the...
All right, so I stopped that there because I'm going to play the other one too. The boy is now saying he's been tormented. They already was tormented by the people in the public, breaking protocol, jumping over their fences, trying to go and see what's going on in the house. Now he cannot sleep. So how do we get from a definitive sighting? I saw some aliens in my backyard. I looked them up. I looked them in the eyes. They was over there. They were scared. They were sitting right there. They were huffing and puffing. Now he's to a point where he can't sleep. He's having all kinds of images and psychological things that are happening. Now we get how bad this is. This is why the government, this is why all the doctors and stuff are trying to figure out how to give people some help when it comes down to this. And I said it again, there are so many people in the dark right now when it comes down to this in our communities who are dealing with this thing mentally, and they really need some help. They really do, because this is incomprehensible. You can't really make sense of this. It doesn't fit the mindset of what we've been taught. And then we put the religious side in it. And this is where this is evolving. And it happens to everybody. everybody at some point have to find a mechanism or coping mechanism that's going to come to the point to deal with what is happening. 99% people, it goes to religion. And then religion, who supposedly have their door open, to love and understanding, to help you with something, hit them right in the face. Bam! No, what you saw was a demon. Oh, what you saw was not an alien. Oh, what you saw, in fact, you crazy now. Now the boy is freaking messed up for life until he meet us. We're going to go down and try to visit him one day, and we're going to tell him the Truth Seekers community. We're going to go down there. We definitely going to go down there. And who's with me? Who's going to go with me to Vegas so we can meet this dude and let him know he's in the right place? So where I'm going with this is this. So I talked to Reverend Carter, and I asked him a few questions. And the first question was, why would this guy change his stories? And I was like, why would he change his story? What would be so powerful that will get him to go from the outlook that it was an actual alien sighting, and now he's saying he got demonic stuff going on in his house? Was there a portal or something open? And here's one of the first things that Reverend Carter had to say.
It's a wonderful question. Why would an experiencer change their story from being visited by an off-world intelligence, alien, extraterrestrial, call it what you will, to a demon? I think there are many reasons that an experiencer would change their story, but I would stress that after these experiences, being an experiencer myself, you are fragile. You are your reality's been shattered. You are vulnerable, is perhaps the better word. And so you're just trying to look at something that makes sense, that can explain to you how my whole worldview is just now shattered. And usually people turn to religion for that.
And there you go. And I'm saying that, now think about how many people out there, and I say this in a more, being funny, but how many people out there that may have been out there doing drugs, or maybe some, sleeping around with everybody, both male and females, or maybe doing some high crimes, Every time we are faced with something at this point, the only place that people turn to at this point is religion for new salvation. And so I'm not like, okay, why not? But this little dude, he's 17 years old. He was 15 or almost 16 when this happens. Like he said, I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for anything other than he's saying this is happening. So I'm going to play some clips so that you can kind of see a little bit what's going on in his crib. And he's going to explain this, and then we're going to go really deep because Reverend Carter put some stuff out there, and you just really want to check this out. So let's go into this part.
So what's interesting also, Alex, in the year, almost a year that has passed, is that something else has begun to happen, they say, now inside the home. And they're very afraid of what they have been, what they say that they have been witnessing inside their home. Can you describe what it is they're telling you?
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why Angel has pivoted from calling what he saw that night an alien instead, now calling it a demon, because he feels like he's seeing so much paranormal activity and just strange, unexplainable things happening inside of his home. There was two anecdotes, one in particular that we're about to show you that literally made the hairs on my arm stand up just because it is so freaky, so unexplainable. We have a segment of that part of the conversation.
You mentioned paranormal activity. What exactly did you see?
Well, I was in another room. My brother called me, and there was a upside-down cross, and there was a Jesus statue in it. They ripped Jesus out of it, they threw him across the room, and it was floating upside down.
Are you saying floating in the air?
Yeah, in the air. It was floating upside down.
What did you do? I mean, did you go pick it up? Did you knock it down? How...
No, I didn't do nothing. I was just sitting there. I was crazy. I was like, what?
But how did it come down? It's not still floating right now, is it?
No, it came down. So we got closer to it and then dropped.
It fell to the ground. A crucifix floating in the air, upside down. The Jesus on the crucifix had been ripped off, and it was floating. Yep. And you can say definitively, without lies, that that is what you saw.
Yes. Swear to God, that's what I saw.
what do you believe that is? How could something like that happen? That's not physically possible in this world.
And that's just one story of many stories of paranormal activity.
So if you get into that, now, like I said, the news reporter was just doing his job. Or is it in there right now? Now, how do you think a person, or you, how about you who maybe you're Christian and you're into the Jesus story or the biblical thing of it all? How does that make you feel? Or how do you think he felt out of everything out there? The cross was upside down and the picture of Jesus was ripped up as though whatever it was, whether it was his beliefs, whether it was some phantom, whether it was some demon saying, I'm going to mess this shit up right here. I'm going to show you out of all things, we're going to tear this thing up. Now, again, he was saying what he was doing. He was saying how he felt about it when it happened. But what do you do? What do you do when this happens on this particular magnitude? Now, we're still got to investigate more. We still want to know what made him go from here. Now, all right, maybe there were some other hands involved. Maybe there was the big secret keepers. Maybe there was the government saying, you better shut this thing down and do this. But why would they do this a year later? Who cares? The story died off. Nobody was talking about it anymore. We had the Miami thing happen, and then we had everything else that's happening. And just like anything else, it was push down. He wasn't doing it for fame. He already said he don't need the money, and he damn sure want to get some sleep. Why would somebody, if it was the government, come and contact these people, force their hands, and say, you got to change the story? Well, the why is what we always search for. Maybe it was true anyway. Maybe the way to get everybody to get off the hunt now, they're crazy. Because once you start getting down to the demon side of things or the spirits and entities, you can really start twisting it up a little bit. You can get around and add a little sauce to it, take away, and make this thing cook up to be something that it is not. And really, but then more people can kind of go, oh, see, because think about it. It was an alien. Oh, hell no. He lied. Oh, he didn't see nothing in his backyard. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Now it's a demon. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's probably what it was then. You get what I'm saying? It's like we can change to that immediately without even thinking about it when it comes down to that. So once again, I was talking to Reverend Michael Carter, and I had a lot of questions for him. And he took the time today and went really thorough. And one other part was I asked him, what does religion do to us? What does religion actually do to us when we come down to situations like this that our mind cannot comprehend? Because I always tell you, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. I don't give a fuck what you see. If your mind is now twisted, it's crazy when it comes down to that, because you're not going to believe anything. I don't care if the leprechaun was sitting in front of you with the gold, somebody had the actual lottery numbers in front of you. If your mind thinking that you just can't see it, don't believe it, it's just not going to happen. That may be a bad analogy. I could have went a little more deep, or put a little humor in it. But the whole point, you get the point that I'm making. You get the point that I'm making is that, was this little boy crazy? Did he actually see it and now he's gone crazy? Have all of this driven him crazy? And if you can see the difference in real time, if you can see what I'm showing you from where he was in the beginning, he saw it, he believed it, and now you see his state of mind today, because all of these folks out there are over at his house, the priest is over at, see, the church is fucking him up, number one, and then you got all these other people. This is crazy, but what does a religion do? Here's what Reverend Carter had to say.
And so, if I'm shattered, I'm vulnerable, I'm scared, I'm not at the highest point, you are susceptible to any other opinions. And that's where religion has come in to answer those questions that we can't get, for better or for worse, from our life experiences. And so we are steeped in it as people, as a religious country, as people who, even if you were in the church and you left it, those imprints are still there. Those stories are still with you. And so they probably made the most sense at the time. I was feeling vulnerable. I was feeling scared. I wasn't feeling love or good vibe. And you know what? That could all be true. But sometimes you need to step back before you make any decisions about what it is that's happening to you. But religion paints the world in black and white. It's either good or it's bad. It's either black or it's white. It's either good or it's evil. And we know that life is more complicated than that.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that I'm listen, I tell you what. All right now. Okay. All right. So here's the deal. Life is does its thing. Let me just kind of put it to you like this. But anyway, where does religion play with this deal, right? How does religion make this change? Now, it didn't happen by itself, folks. Let me just put it to you that way. It did not happen that he went and picked up his Bible and he started reading all these scriptures and he started saying, okay, this lines up here, Ezekiel or the Nephilims. He did not put all of that together to begin the process of saying this is now changing. It was influenced. Religion has influenced stuff all, and it takes other people to do that, okay? And it takes other people, family, friends. This is why it's really important for those of you who have these experiences, you're going to have to find another well to draw from. And this is why this community exists. I'm not telling you that we can say we believe everything that we hear. But we will tell you, because we know there's some high strange shit that happens out here, that we're willing to go on a journey with you. We ain't going to shut you down. You ain't going to never hear me slap you with the book of the Bible. But listen, go to Amazon. You got to get this book. It's a good read. You can read this within an evening. You sit down. You're going to come away with some great education. He hits this stuff right on the head. Well, I'm telling you, there's a link in the description, and you definitely want to go ahead and click that and get it. It's actually on sale. I think about $16, man. It's worth every penny. And we're going to continue. I got about 7 more things that he's going to share with us. So we got to go in, and I'm coming at you tonight. We ain't going to have church. It's not church here in the sanctuary, but we're going to get it. And if you find value, in what we're talking about tonight, support the show and everything else. And you can do that through Cash App or any other way, Super Chat, all of those things. So here we go. Let's continue. Let me continue. So I'm sitting here talking to Reverend Carter. And another part of this was asking him, now, how do we get to the demon part? How did we get to the demon part where we're now trying to connect the dots that the aliens are demons? Now, let me stop you for a minute. I am telling you there's some up shit going on out here. There is other stuff going on in other dimensions. I'm not telling you it does not exist. So could we have two things happening? Could be two truths or two lies all at the same damn time. Did he see an alien? Oh, did whatever happened also summon the demons up because the vibration or the frequency or whatever it was that these aliens came from open up a portal? You don't know. I'm not going to say you just don't know. So don't start giving all this, yeah, because you damn sure don't know. We don't know. But I'm saying, is it a possibility that what we think we know over here is happening over here? And what if? Because that was a story I was talking to someone today about, and I forget now, but there was a guy, and Billy Carson actually was talking about it on the show he just did with, I forget the name, and somebody can put it in the chat. But he was saying that there was a guy who wrote a book years ago, and his description of the alien became into more of a demonic type of a spirit. So what if we're talking about the same stuff? What if it's one of the same? What if the aliens are demons or angels or fallen angels are one or the same? We all got all this different stuff in the biblical format. So let me get back into a little more part what he said about this.
But if we go back to our scriptures, the word is used, demons, which really is just, these are in the Bible, they use as spirits. And some of these spirits have a body, some of them may not. And so I think this person may have gone back to what he knew, that I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what is going on here, but I do know what my training, my indoctrination, if you will, has told me. Better word than training. And if I'm not feeling good, if I'm not feeling love, if I'm not feeling very positive about this, and when you're in a fear mode, that's what happens. That they come along and they just say, hey, we got an answer for this. And you desperately want an answer because everything you believed about life has just been shattered. That is at least one reason I think an experiencer would change their minds, going from these were ETs, aliens, and now they're.
All right, so I'm down with what Reverend Carter was just saying there. Because basically, in the summing up in a nutshell here is that the experience is so fucking traumatic. It is so traumatic that you can't even you can't cope with it, that you got to go find a mechanism to cope with it. And if everybody else around you who didn't see what you see, they're going to tell you to go pray, brother. We're going to pray for you, and wish they don't, or we're going to do all of this stuff. And now all of a sudden, the only thing you can come back to, why me? See, because now it goes to, why did this happen to me? Why did I see this and it happened in my fucking backyard and everybody don't believe me? Everybody, why me? Oh, now it looks like, it just changed. And so this is something for all of you who are non-believers, who are skeptics. You don't want to see a fucking UFO. You don't want to have an alien encounter. Now, UFO might be okay. Let me say that because I've seen one and it's not that traumatic versus these people who actually have contact. I don't even think they're on the same level, except it depends, all right? It just depends on your emotional state. I will say that because some of these things get pretty close to some people. I was just 12 years old, so I was a little more curious. But I'm sure if I saw some shit, some orbs and stuff hanging out here today, I probably would have a different perspective and when it comes down to this. But where I'm going with this is real. It is as real as it gets. It's there, and it's getting to be a little more open. And we got the government, we got disclosure. And this is why I tell you all, do you really want disclosure? Do you really want to know the truth of what's happening out here? Can your mind take what's going to happen if you get the right exposure at the right time, right in your fucking face, and you're going to see some shit that you can't comprehend, and then you can't go tell your closest person, your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your bestie, the person who said, oh, I got a gun too, they ain't gonna help your ass. They're not going to help you when it comes, and you're gonna be on your own at night. You're going to be on your own when you start having a little sleep paralysis. You're going to be on your own. I'm not here to scare y'all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not scaring you. I'm just saying, because he's going to tell you in a little bit why some of these demons operate and they suck and come from fear. Yeah, he's going to talk about that. I asked him about that. So I'm saying to you, they make you scared. You got the fear. And then all of a sudden, these demons who live off that fear began to enter into your frequency and your space. This is collateral damage. This is collateral damage at its fullest, right? And we have to really make sense of all of this. All I'm saying is be open-minded to these other people. Be open-minded to other people. You don't know how traumatic, and I'm just speaking to you skeptics out there and all you non-believers, and caution the ones who says you want to experience. Why not me? You better be glad it ain't you, because everybody who's dealing with this, it ain't going too well. It just doesn't go well at the end of the day. So we're talking about one of the things that this guy said. He said that there was a cross flying across the room. And that's incredible enough. We just talked about the Bible sitting there. The Bible. All right, so why would an extraterrestrial, an alien, demon, fallen angel, whatever you want to call it, attack religious icons? Why did he just didn't throw a fucking cup across the table? Why didn't he just stand around and kick the dog? Or why didn't he just take the pillow and smash it in his head? Or why did he just didn't make a box fall? Why fuck with the cross, make it upside down, and then throw it? Now, are we dealing with intelligence here? Are we dealing with something that knows us inside and out and how we're going to react to certain things? Why would it pick up the Bible? I'm sure he probably had a whole bunch of other fucking books there. But why pick up the Bible and then spin it open as though he's sitting there going, hey, because you can't see him, but you just see the Bible going, hey, man, this bullshit. I mean, could you imagine he just sitting there going, this bullshit? You know, damn well, they don't need to be believing in this bullshit. Oh, my God. And, you know, so he didn't hear what he was thinking. He just saw him sitting there going, I can't believe these mother. Man, these people are just stupid as. And then he looks up and go, oh, I'm sorry. Let me turn this cross upside down. I mean, think about some shit like that. Why? And okay, I know we got some of you religious folks out there. So tell me why would the demon want to attack the Bible and the cross? Why couldn't he have done something else? Why couldn't it have been like Poltergeist and make the TV say some shit? Why didn't it slide the chair across the ground and really make a pronounced statement? Because the dude was probably in some psychological world, man. He is beat up and all he can think about is talking or dealing with this from a religious viewpoint. He already said it. Let me put it this way. He had already said that the priest, let me put this up here on the screen. He already said that he had a couple of priests come over to their house and they were saying that these were falling angels. Where the fuck that come from? All right, so I'm not saying that we haven't heard the stories, but the priests now are telling him, oh, by the way, these are fallen angels. See, everything that we know today, everybody want to reference it back to some religious aspect. This is where you get people like Billy and all these people are saying, hey, wake the fuck up. You got to understand that there's something higher force working here. There's other things you can tap into and everything else. My job is the vortex. I'm just going to bring all the stragglers into this little vortex, and we're going to bring your ass in here, and then I'm going to send you over to Forbidden Knowledge where you're going to go get some more awakening shit. My job is to get the wanderers, because some of you who are woke, you're some of the worst people too, because you don't respect none of these people who don't see it like you. I see it all the time. He ain't woke. You ain't no better than they are. And we should be helping these people. Now, I'm not, okay, I know the religious side. We can't be out there preaching and shit because you can't be a prophet in your own town. And I'm not accusing all of you, so don't take it personal. But if you know that you look at someone else who have not read the books you have, who not opened their mind, have not took the time to do shadow work and all these things that you've done, are you better than them? Or maybe you're just ahead in the race. Let's just say you're going to win the race because we all in the same fucking boat. Okay? Fair enough. We're going to go there. Thank you very much. I'm just saying that. So where I'm going with this is this. Now that we can understand that this thing is big, it's really big. It's really, really big. It is no joke. It is big. And we need to figure out what can we do on a collective part. Right about now, going across the bottom of that screen is Cash App and PayPal. If you don't mind, you want to support the show, I would love for you to do so. So another part of the conversation when we get down to this was I was talking to Reverend Carter, and again, we was talking about what was flying around the guy's room. But what I was more concerned with was he's in the clergy. He's in the church, so he knows how the church sees these things. And I'm saying, why would a fucking institution that is designed to give you not just salvation, but designed to give you a refuge, a place to where you're going to get a support, supposedly both mentally, I can't even say financially because they ain't doing that shit. But the whole part is it is your place of worship and refuge. Instead of taking on head on, except for the Catholic churches, he'll talk about that they will not admit to the fact that there is something else or could be some small truth. And they know it, though. You get where I'm going with this? Most clergy people know the alien truth. They know it exists. So when they look you in your eyes and you begin to look at them and you're telling them you're in pain and you're in all of this stuff and you need them to be there for you, and they come back and backdoor your ass and say some shit like, yeah, there was some angels. There was some fallen angels, in fact. But they don't even know you're going to do your research and talk about Nephilims and all this shit. That shit is a bigger story. Let's go back into a little more. Let's go right here.
Now, the reason people in his church, his minister, the people go to that church would change, be vital in changing his testimony is that they don't understand. They're just as afraid as he is, but they're even more indoctrinated, if you will, especially the minister, because we're trained that way. We were trained. I'm a professional clergy person. We were trained that way until you open up your mind and have some different experiences. And we see it, and it's not just his denomination, it's in all denominations, which is why you're not seeing a lot of or hearing a lot of clergy people talk about what's going on. 25 years ago, when I started talking about this, Orthodox Christianity denied these beings existed. So in some ways, this is an improvement. Now, this is progress. Now they're saying, okay, they do exist begrudgingly, but they're of the devil. They're demons. And we have this going on all across churches in our country. So this is why that would happen. I don't understand it. So it's not of God, at least the God I worship. And so it cannot be anything else. Remember, it's that simplistic worldview, polarity, good or evil, black or white. There's no gray area. And we know life is gray. And so that, to me, as simplistic as it sounds, it's really not. But this is why we don't have more churches talking about this, except for maybe the Catholic Church, for all their flaws and secrecy and, for all of that shadow history they have. They are the only denomination that I know that comes out and says these beings exist and they're not all demons, and our holy book is full of stories about it.
There you go. So you get what I'm saying and what he was saying, that the church is designed. They're trained to debunk your true things that you're dealing with and then install the doctrine so that you then can be, and what better time that they want to just install some doctrine when your ass is under trauma. That is probably, and most people go to church when they're traumatized, whether it's they had too much sex, or maybe they done too many drugs, or maybe they done all. See, the healthy mind goes in there and it's like, okay, wait a minute, hold on a minute, you're right. But when you go in there and you hurting, you in pain, you and all, and they prey up on that shit and say, okay, now we're gonna slap your ass with this book, and this is the reason why you're seeing these things. And I'm saying the boy needs some help. He really needs some true help. This is why even when we start putting together Project Black, when I was talking to all these psychiatrists and all these other people, I'm saying, wait a minute. I need believers first. See, if any of them do not believe that it is possible or what we're talking about, they're not part of what we're doing. I'm not going to have somebody sitting in front of somebody who is telling them their fucking heart, their dream, whatever is happening, and they're sitting there writing a scientific approach to what you're saying and saying, and in the note saying they crazy. Hell no, we're not going to do that because you're not crazy. All right. This is the message to any of you listening. You are not crazy. It happens. This shit is happening. Maybe it gets twisted over time. Maybe your story turns from 1 alien to 16 aliens. Maybe it turns from that. But the beginning of the thing, you're not crazy. We just need to bring it back down a bit. Okay, we'll do that. But this is where we're going with this. And this is why I know that we got some stuff that is happening out here, and we got to put this stuff in check because it's getting ready to get real. And you know why I'm saying it's going to get real? Why am I warning you it's about to get real? Because they're getting ready to bring this stuff out to the public pretty soon. And if you're not ready, your kids are not ready, your family, your friends, and all this stuff, it's going to be a lot of hysteria. Okay? Oh, yeah, Roderick, you're passing fear. I'm passing facts, goddammit. I'm telling you, there's going to be some people who ain't going to handle it. And you think we see some crazy stuff right now? You think we talking about the apocalypse was crazy, or the eclipse was going on, or yeah, when them zombies sit here and you don't have your fucking bunker? Okay, that's cool. But when you're talking about everybody walking around that the angels are falling and the fucking demons are here and all this shit, this ain't gonna be no joke, folks. It's not going to be a joke. It's gonna be some serious, really smart, intelligent people going off their fucking rocker really quick. All right, so let's get into it. Again, if you find any value into what we have today, you can support the show. I'm going to keep talking, then I'm going to go dark on y'all heads, right? That's cool. It takes a lot to go here and be digging this stuff up for y'all. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't really care, but I get it. That's okay. That's all right. My close circle and friends and all that, we're going to be safe and shit. I'm going to be really quiet. I'm going to start holding back. No, I'm not going to do y'all like that. I'm here for you one way or the other. You don't have to do. Just be here. You cool. I love y'all. I really do. And I want to do you like, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I got your back. Okay. All right. So I did want to get a little more information of this fallen angel and the correlation between the extraterrestrials and how do we get from there to there. They're also in aid of why does this young man is doing what he's doing. And so again, I went to the expert, my boy, my friend, Reverend Michael Carter, who has a book on this, who stood out. Let me tell you, it takes a lot of fucking courage in the clergy for somebody to stand out and then go ahead and gonna expose that book into a point and still preach on Sundays. Yes, he does. Support him, all right? Go to that link, get your book. But I asked him, I said, talk to me about this, the fallen angels, and how do we, and you remember he's been on Ancient Aliens and History Channel, and he's been on our show, he's been in documentaries, so he's right here with us. So what you're about to hear, you may not believe it, right? Because he's talking the facts, because that's the people that we have around us in our circle. So let's go, and this is about 2.5 minutes, right? Because I wanted him to go detail for you. And I wanted us to get the facts. So when you get off this live stream in a little bit, you go do some stuff and let's go. Anyway, let's rock it.
Yes, Roderick, these are excellent questions. Well, if we go to the scriptures, well, and this is one book that was taken out of the Bible, even though the Ethiopian church still uses it, the book of Enoch. It's a continuation of Genesis. And in the book of Enoch, we are told that there were angels, 200 of them, who came down from the heavens and mated with earth women. The beginning of this story, I think, is in Genesis 6. But this is a continuation of that story in the book of Enoch. He names some of the angels. And what they did was they came down and mated with earth women and had children themselves who were hybrids. In the Genesis account, they were giants and they were nasty. Some of them had 6 fingers, 6 toes. Some of them ate human beings, drank human blood. They were called the Nephilim in the book of Genesis. And so these beings, it goes into greater detail, as I mentioned, in the book of Enoch. But Enoch said that some of these beings were killed in the flood. Some of them were banished underground, and some of them went underground to live because there must have been some type of prime directive, if I can use the Star Trek term, that you're not supposed to fraternize with a lesser civilization. You're not supposed to get involved with them, much less fall in love, or not even fall in love and fraternize with the enemy and have children. That was a no-no. And so Enoch goes into great detail about that story, teaching us astronomy, astrology, how to work with crystals and stones, how to make defensive weapons, how to use cosmetics, how to use certain dyes for wardrobe. It's all laid out in the book of Enoch. And again, this was supposed to be a no-no. And so these angels became fallen angels, according to the text, because they broke some type of directive. Enoch talks about the Lord. We can read that many ways. It could have been the commander of a ship. I talk about this in my book, Alien Scriptures, Extraterrestrials in the Holy Bible, which of course you can find on Amazon.
All right, yeah. So you can find that book on Amazon. Here it is again. The guy's deep, man, and he's part of Project Black. All right, he is deep in Project Black. In fact, we're going to be doing the first webinar in about 3 weeks. I only have a limited space, maybe for 50 or 100 people or whatever. And you know what? You're going to miss. Well, I haven't even promoted it yet, so I can't say you're going to miss. You may be the one who snap up your space and all of that. So anyway, this is where we at with this, though. So now we're dealing with our ancient civilizations. We're dealing with ancient religion. We're dealing with the taboos. We're dealing with actuality of things that are happening in real time, which is, we're going to call it reality. And then we're happening with things that we just can't comprehend. What the fuck do we supposed to do every day and go through all of this stuff? But you see in real time. Go back, look at the Vegas video, look at that young man, his posture and all of that, the day this incident happened, and look how he's deteriorated to where he is now because of people, because of religion, because of all of this stuff. Man, the mind, this shit ain't no joke. This is, again, why I'm going to harp it again. You do not want the disclosure the way you want it. I know enough of this stuff. I know more than I got the shit. I know some stuff. I know there's some things, Jeff, if I told you, you won't wake up in the next tomorrow with the same perception and you're probably go batshit crazy. Because why? You can't believe it. You won't be able to believe it. And you're going to be like, it just can't, but it's going to start touring with your ass. It's going to play with you. It's going to show up in some of the most craziest times. Then you're going to start having visuals and shit. Then you're going to start hearing audio. Then you're going to see shit move that didn't really move, but maybe it did. And then you're going to turn all of that over and you're going to walk into the church and you're going to say, Pastor, can you help me with this? I saw some aliens and my shit is moving on. And he's going to pray for you and he's going to tell you, your ass is seeing some demons, son. And whatever you do, you need to repent. And you need to repent right now so that I'm just telling you. I'm not saying I don't believe in church, so don't start that shit. Don't start looking at me and jumping off the channel. I'm still a Christian today. I'm just a curious motherfucking Christian. In fact, it's going to be a new brand, Curious Christian, hint, hint. So I'm saying to you, we have to then look into the perspectives and what is happening. And the question always is going to be why? Why not? We just can't get the truth. We're truth seekers. Why can't we not get the truth? One of the other parts of this, because I wanted to know a little more about the Gnostics and the demons, and I think it was called, let me see, I put some notes because I had a question that came across my desk, and I wanted Reverend Carter to kind of go into that. But anyway, here's the deal. We start talking about, what could happen. We're talking about the humans. There we go. What about the Gnostic scriptures? Because he was talking about that in his book when I read a while ago. And so he got into some details, and this is probably one of the last part of this. So you want to watch this. It's about 2 minutes and so, and then we're going to bring this conversation home. Okay? Let's go with this. And this is something I wanted to ask him.
There's also one other thing I'd like to mention, Roderick. If we look at the Gnostic scriptures, which, again, did not make the canon, sometimes they talk about beings called archons. And these beings they don't have a body. It seems like they're energy-based beings. The word is archons, Archons. You will find them in the Gnostic Gospels. And these are beings who are not always physical, even though they can shapeshift. But what they do is they feed on the lower level emotions of human beings: despair, hate, anger, jealousy, depression. They feed on those emotions, and sometimes these spirits will stick with you and exacerbate your already negative feelings, feelings of greed, feelings I'm not good enough. And so those beings should also be taken seriously as well. Because if we want to talk about the word demon, which is actually in Greek, it means spirits. So there are beings in the Bible who are described as spirits. Okay, but they don't say whether they had a body or not, or we know angels can be physical because they eat. They eat in the Bible, and the story of Abraham and Sarah. They reach out and touch, but there are other beings too, humanoid beings. When Daniel talks about one like the Son of Man. It sounds like that's a humanoid. It's not a human being, was what Son of Man means, but one like the Son of Man. If I'm not mistaken, Ezekiel talks about that. One like the Son. I saw one like the Son of Man. I read that as probably some type of android or humanoid. But there are other beings who are called spirits. Or they'll say, a spirit spoke to me. A spirit said this to me. And some of these beings, if they don't have bodies, the archons, they can feed on your negative emotions and latch onto you. And sometimes you need prayer or some type of minister who's familiar with that, an exorcist, or Native Americans have people who do spirit removal, those types of things. So you also want to put that in there because they are also can be referred to as demons.
All right, so there you go when it comes down to this. What could the demons be? How do they get there? What's going on? Did all of a sudden I'm talking about the young man, Angel, over there in Las Vegas, did he actually see an alien at the beginning? Did he see a down spacecraft in his backyard? But due to all of the energy and turmoil and all of the people around him and just talking to him in his ear, this is when you just shut the fuck up and don't listen to these people. This is why I tell you, make that circle small. And I've said it before, even though I do a lot of this, that circle that I pour and grab into, they have to be as stable as they can be when it comes down to this stuff, because I get it. I get everybody calling. Some days I can feel, maybe they're trying to put something on me or whatever. I get some of the weirdest calls, some of the, you this, brother, this and this and that. That's okay, but I'm protected though, right? I got a lot of you out there that pray for me. I got a lot of you that, y'all psychic, and I got a band of fucking warriors that's out of this world when it comes, and I'm blessed by all means when it comes down to this. I got my mala bees, and I got my sage, and I got, I'm telling you, if I didn't have some of y'all that were not the ones that are tapping into my ass, I'm saying the people who are actually protecting my ass, I appreciate you. I love you. And we are in this together, and I'm telling you, thank you with all the bottom of my heart, because I'm in some shit, and some days these fucking folks don't be trying to play, okay? And it's one of those things. So anyway, I just want to leave us with that. I don't know where we go with this conversation from there. I don't know, how do we take ourselves into the next component of things, of saying aliens and demons? Are we talking about the same stuff? Or now we just adding to the fray that there's a lot of more shit out here we just don't know. And now that comes back to, do we want to talk about is this a prison planet? Or do we want to talk about what all of this stuff is going here? Man, this stuff is ridiculous. It really is. And it gets to a point of, why the fuck do we want to know? So at the end of the day, do we want to let ourselves feel that we are the privileged because we know? Are we privileged because we know? What about the person who's really walking his ass around like it was designed for him to have a memory wipe, not know nothing, be sleep, because we want to claim that we woke, and they don't know shit, and they ain't afraid of shit. They ain't dealing with shit. They can go about their fucking day. They wake up in the morning and smell the coffee and the birds and tweet, tweet, tweet. And yes, the world just looks so fucking simple. And then we want to go open up the fucking Pandora's box, and now the life changes all across the board. Or they the privileged ones. Was it truly designed that we wasn't supposed to know? Or whether some bigger entity says, I'm going to do these fucking humans and souls a favor by wiping their minds, closing their eyes, because if they really could see the truth, if they really know what's really happening in this world per se, they can't handle the truth. They won't be able to handle the truth. That's my question, ladies and gentlemen. And I leave you with that, and pretty much because all I can say is, do you really want disclosure?
Hell no!